This is Envision Self-Healing Podcast, episode number 38. Hi, I'm Will Fuller.
And I'm Richard Miller.
And we are the co-creators of EnvisionSelfHealing.com and are dedicated in helping you improve your eyesight and quality of life
by taking healing into your own hands. The topic of the week this week is teaching old teachers new tricks. And in the second half of the podcast, we're going to be answering a question from a Twitter follower who has just had LASIK surgery and now asks, I have trouble seeing at night, a blurriness, after doing LASIK surgery. Is that normal?
So Richard, how's the world of self-healing been treating you this week?
Well, I'm trying to get back onto a more regular schedule. And just before this podcast, we were out in my backyard trying to put bamboo on a fence unsuccessfully, right? So I'm buttoning up the last little details in my house. Literally, it's going to be buttoned up in a couple weeks. Plants in the backyard now.
Nice.
Yeah. And apple and pear trees coming in soon, in a few days.
I'll be coming round to get some of those.
Yeah. And I have a stream in my backyard now, too, which you helped me with.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was successful. Huh?
Very successful. I should put a lot of this on Facebook since everybody's been hearing about my trials and tribulations over the last...
They're thinking it better be worth it.
Exactly, yeah. But I have a nice new rubber sort of patio outside my office to do exercises with, body exercises with, so that'll be very useful. And I have a 3-foot Buddha to sit and meditate with, so
nice.
It's all going to be good.
Keep you company.
Yeah, but now that all of that's winding up, I've begun to, how do I get back to a regular schedule?
Right.
And the solution I came up with, again, consulting one of my best friends who's a time management person, he's come up with tools for me that I might talk about later on. I'm just developing them for myself. Okay. But the main thing that we're doing now is we've got together on Skype, and it's a good modern technique, the modern buddy system. So every morning at 7:00 we get together on Skype, and I do eye exercises and meditation, and he does meditation.
Excellent. Yeah. I think I remember we did a podcast a while back on a support network,
right,
as a way of being successful in your eye exercises and trying to get a group of people together, or meeting on Skype. And it's nice that you're really putting that into practice. Yeah,
and Skype would be a good way. I'm just putting this out because people might really want to take advantage of it. Because you can get up to 3 or 4 people on Skype, I believe, fairly easily. Okay. And so if you could create a community of eye exercise people and just agree to come together at a certain time, it's really very straightforward. It does force you to actually take a shower and look decent because
early in the morning.
Early in the morning. There have been days. Steve and I are very good friends, so there have been a morning or two where I showed up right out of bed and not looking so good. But it kind of like gets you the motivation to get going because you can't let that person down. So.
Yeah, I found in the end, even just going to the gym, that I just lost motivation going there and sitting there for 2 hours working the weights. It was just too boring.
Yeah.
So I started doing yoga classes and spin classes and all these other kinds of classes because, like you say, I felt more driven to have to go there and actually do it if I was part of a community, or I knew the teacher would say, "Where were you last week?" or some sort of a
right.
9 times out of 10, once you start doing it, you feel great and you're really glad that you did it.
Right, and I haven't missed a day since I started doing this whole week. So
excellent.
It's definitely a very useful tool. And Skype makes it very easy now. I mean, we're not even paying anything for it. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if people could even use our fan page to maybe reach out to other people and see if, the most difficult thing is with the eye exercises is so few people really know about it.
Right.
That few people are doing it, so it's difficult to find someone. We're so lucky here in San Francisco that we work with a lot of people that do their eye exercises, and we've got our own little community. But I could imagine it's very difficult. I mean, even myself, when I first started doing eye exercises in London, well, no one else was doing the eye exercises. You know, they don't even exist. So, you know, how could I do them with anybody else? And maybe if I had somebody that I could have met with on Skype, no matter where they were in the world, then it would have been good to have done that and done those exercises.
Exactly. And you could meet with someone potentially across the world, and if you could figure out the time frame, you know, maybe you do it in the morning here and then the evening, you know, early evening somewhere else, so they're still light out.
Yeah.
And my friend Steve and I do talk about, you know, we get into philosophy and meditation topics just for like 5 minutes at the beginning and the end, which makes it even a better experience, really. And how that his meditation experience is helping him, and I can talk about my eye exercises, and it's really good.
Good. And we have to make sure you keep us updated on whether it keeps going and then any observations.
Yeah, and my next plan, I think I talked a few weeks back about setting a list of priorities, and that's been one of the time management tools I've used. And then now my next task, which I'll talk about once I've done it, is to do a set of projects on a list basis, so that I have a to-do list, you know, within eye exercises, within the website, things like that. So
Excellent.
that's the thing, the next step for me.
Good.
So yeah, that's...
And I think you've used the right word there, the next step, because, you know, I'm the kind of person that just jumps straight in.
Yeah.
And if I do things on a slow basis, they tend to never really pick up. And if I dive in feet first, you know, getting up at 5:30 in the morning and just doing my exercises, then I'm more likely to do it. But, you know, there's a big argument for it being a process and taking it step by step. And, you know, especially with the exercises and with the programs, okay, you don't do the whole program on Monday.
Right.
Maybe you do a couple of exercises and then you do that throughout the week, but then the next week your aim is to maybe try and do 3 of the exercises.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And sort of start building it in instead of jumping in feet first.
You know, I'm an old pro at this, so but even we started out, let's just commit to 20 minutes first. So we did that for a few days. And then I said, okay, let's up it to 40 minutes. And then next week we're going to up it up to an hour. So we're just sort of gradually ramping it up. And then having the little chat before and after really is a good support for doing that.
Excellent.
And you can talk about your barriers to doing the exercises even at that point. So
excellent.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So how did your week go?
Yeah, good. I achieved one of my goals that I said that I'd set myself up for before I did the unconscious bicycle then, but that's probably not a good idea.
That would be way more dangerous than what you did.
I ended up riding a bike by accident,
right?
Almost in the sense that it was sort of forced upon me. It was one of my goals that I'd set, maybe 2 years in the future,
right?
And I said that I was going to do a conscious effort to ride a bike so that it wasn't by accident and it really was achieving my goals. And this week I went to Napa Valley up in the wine country and rented bikes for the day. Wow. And rode around Napa Valley on the bikes.
Nice.
And I was sort of anxious. I was more anxious leading up to it than
especially with all the drunk wine tasters driving around. You might have been seeing way better than they were.
Well, they tend to all be in vans. So,
that's true. Yes. Yeah.
So and these are well-educated people, Richard.
That's true. That's true. Forget. They don't do that. Yes.
So so we rented these bikes and there was 4 of us, and one of the guys there, he was like 5'8",
all right,
and I'm 5'11".
Right.
No, sorry, the guy was 5'9", and I'm 5'11", and he was like, "Okay, let me size up bikes." And so we gave this guy a normal sized bike, and he was like, "And how tall are you?" And I was like 5'11". And it was like, probably this one. And it was
massive.
It was this massive, really high bike, really wide handlebars.
Oh, no.
I felt I was on a monster bike or something. And and when we got out on the road and I was on the pavement, and it was very sensitive steering. The bike I rode before was sort of an old mountain bike, slightly rusted. So it meant that the handlebars were sort of kept straight in one direction.
Right, this has more...
this was a well-maintained, movable.
More like a sport bike kind of thing.
Yeah. So, but it worked fine, and after a couple of minutes, I caught the handle on it, and it was so the Napa Valley. We were actually in a place, St. Helena. It's a small town,
very nice town,
and a place also there called Calistoga.
Yep,
and very quaint.
Yep,
small place. So not many people around. People stop when you're crossing the roads. The cars stop when you.
It's wine harvesting season too, right? Were they grapes on the vine? Oh, I think they were
grapes on the vine. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So after a little bit, going down these quaint, it was what I pictured as an American streets, and it was full, and the leaves were brown. What was it?
They sell quaint up there. So. Yeah.
California Dreaming, Mamas and Papas is all I kept singing in my head. I could have sworn I was on the front cover of their album there for a second. I remember the image, and I was fine. It was just like walking. It was just like riding a bike. It was
for us anyway.
Yeah, it was just all the things that I've been practicing with walking, tuning into my periphery, being confident, doing the scanning with my eyes if I'm unsure about something, instead of freaking out or staring, and. It really was just reminding me of how I used to ride the bike the whole time. Wow. And the only time it got a little bit scary was going up sort of on the highway.
Yeah.
Or the busier roads. Well, and there wasn't much of a shoulder and like trucks.
That's scary to me too, sorry.
Well, and that was the thing. That's what I realized everybody was scared about it. Now, of course, we ended up getting up there late, and the whole time I have the pumpkin hour, which is when it gets dark, right? So as soon as it gets dark, I know that
it's over.
That as confident as I want to be, I know right now that when it gets dark, it's very difficult for me to see and to ride a bike in the dark.
I think a white cane in front of the bike might not work so well. Yeah,
or like big floodlights, big lamp, like a sports stadium on top of the bike.
That would work.
And so I always had this thing hanging over me the whole time. So I was always sort of pushing people, that we needed to get back by this time.
Why is he so tense?
Yeah. But luckily, the people in the store said we had to be back by dark.
Oh, good.
And I checked sunset time before I left. So I was making sure I was telling everyone all the time what...
Jessica was there too, right?
Yeah. I wasn't... it was just at the back of my mind. And once I started riding, I felt so much more confident and got relaxed. And we did pop and do a couple of wine tastings in a few...
for good measure,
in a few places. And I mean, I sort of wanted just to do a nice bike ride. And I think we're going to do that next time.
Yeah.
The people I was with kind of wanted to do a bit of wine tasting.
And,
which is fine. And it certainly calmed the nerves, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, I'll post a couple of pictures up on Facebook. I also met the friendliest policeman or cop in America.
Wow.
We parked our bikes up and went to take some pictures of the mountain, and the cop car pulled up, and I thought, oh no.
No,
because then I thought they're just...
You're trespassing or something.
Illegally parked our bikes.
Right.
He was going to breathalyze us or something. And he just said, do you guys want a picture? And he took a picture of us. I was like, wow, so you're the nicest cop I've ever met in America. So, really, really pleased about that. My confidence was really built, and I'm looking forward to then going up and do a whole day trip. We were only really fitted in the evening. We zoomed back in the evening to get back before dark. And, a real successful trip.
Yeah.
And boosted my confidence, and it was real... I sort of laughed a little bit, really. I built it up so much more than I needed to.
Yeah, isn't that the case?
And I really needed just to jump on the bike, jump on the horse and get going.
Yeah,
Maybe
horses.
Maybe that should be one of my... I'm going to take a while before I start. Maybe I should ride a horse that has only peripheral vision, or we're sort of...
You know, it might actually. I've ridden horses plenty because my ex-wife was into horses, but it's not that hard. I don't think you would have much trouble. The horses really know where they're going most of the time. So.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how you could be on something that has its own mind. That sort of scares me. That it could decide just to run off in a different. At least a bike has to do what you tell it to do.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that.
So, and I guess the only other thing I noticed this week is I've been working so hard being in my periphery. And I went to the farmer's market again, and now with daylight savings, it gets darker an hour earlier. And I was in the farmer's market, and it got dark. And I was really surprised at how much I was struggling. Like, it actually confused me. I was like, why aren't I seeing that well right now? Because I've been doing so well with my periphery. And,
sure.
And I guess part of it is that I've been learning to sort of be in my periphery as I walk around. And as you've got the light, it lights everything up, things are moving, it's easier to see. So I guess I was kind of expecting the same thing to happen. But what I did is I started moving my central vision, actually almost using it like a walking stick or something, moving it from place to place, almost shifting in front of me. And I could see well.
Wow.
I realized what I was doing is because I'm so used to trying to work my periphery, I just
you keep your
look
central fixed forward. Yeah.
And my attention's in my periphery.
Which is not the way the rest of us do that.
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
So I was like, wow, this is really difficult. And I thought, let me shift from point to point and see if things are easier to see.
Yeah.
And my central vision was picking up so much more information. I could see the kid on the bike, I could see the cone, I could see the store, I could see the curve. And I was moving from place to place to place to place. Yeah. And I could see.
It worked,
it was really fascinating to me. Anyway, I look forward to playing with that a little bit more and share that with our listeners a bit more in the future. But I didn't think it was really going to work. And I was amazed that it did. Wow. So I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's about a good time to move on to topic of the week.
And the topic of the week this week is teaching old teachers new tricks.
And this isn't a dig at any of our teachers in the past.
It's a dig at us a little bit. But.
This really is a dig at ourselves here, because we really enjoy getting all the emails from our audience and all the feedback that we get from everyone. And it's really nice to learn from our audience as well.
Yeah. And
I always found this myself as a teacher. It's always funny when, say, an 8-year-old kid teaches you a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
And I've certainly had a few of those, especially teaching in London, where some of the kids
they're like 40 at 8, right?
when they go to stab you and you learn a lesson to not work there anymore.
Right, they've been doing prison time by the time they're 8.
It's really not that bad.
Okay, all right.
Everyone should go. But no, I always enjoy learning, and I do find that a lot of time teachers get stuck in their own ways, and it's their way or the highway. And if you're not learning, it's your fault because it's something you're not doing. Yeah. So this in particular relates to the Eye Exercise Express,
right? And this may be somebody like me. We did the Eye Exercise Express, and for me, being an auditory learner, it was perfect for me. I could listen to the instructions on the Express and get them clearly. Of course, I knew the exercises too, so that helped. So I didn't really see any problems with it at all.
So anybody that doesn't know, the Eye Exercise Express is a product that we launched several months ago. And the idea is that we had 12 eye exercises that were timed perfectly to 10 minutes.
Right.
I know, because I spent many hours trying to get it just to that 10-minute mark.
You did.
And the idea is that, we've got a quick start reference guide in there, and we've got all the materials, all the PDF files. And we selected 4 main exercises that you should do for each condition.
For each condition. So if you have macular degeneration or glaucoma, there's a chart that tells you which 4 exercises you should do. And we actually have 2 bonus exercises for that condition as well. And then we gave you all the printed material you would need, like a cutting guide for cutting out black paper, some charts for doing convergence or presbyopia exercises, 10-foot chart, and a piece of reading material that we use for various exercises called the large and small print.
And the reason why the eye exercise came about is we were doing several surveys. We were trying to find out a lot more with our own clients what it was that was preventing them from doing the eye exercises.
Right.
Because we know the eye exercises work. We see it every day in ourselves and also with our clients. The trick is just doing the eye exercises.
That was what we were trying to solve, was how do we get them to do the exercises? And the main questions they came up was time and motivation. So the biggest feedback we got is, well, I just don't have time to do the exercises. Right. And the other one is that, I'm just not really motivated enough just to get up and do it. So we really poked around a little bit more with, I guess, the motivational side of things. And one of the biggest things that people are lacking is, and I don't want to have an ego about this, but us. Right.
And by us, I mean, a coach, a teacher, somebody that can guide them through the exercises, tell them what it is they're meant to be doing with the exercise, and then they actually, do the exercise themselves and, start building a program that way.
Right. So they needed somebody like us, but not us, because we can't come through the computer. And
more attractive when it's auditory. You can picture.
That's true. You can picture
a handsome man with
way more attractive than
long blonde locks. I don't know what handsome is anymore. But.
I know.
So this way, we recorded the exercises. We did it to exactly 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and then we did it in a way that it really guided you step by step, so that you had a virtual coach in your ears.
Right.
Whilst you were performing the exercise, you could do it. We did it in real time.
Right.
So that as we speak, you do the exercise, just like in our sessions where we're guiding somebody through it. So, you really were getting that private session without actually having to meet with us.
And then the other thing, the other motivational tool we put in there was, why are you doing the exercises? So we, in amongst doing the instructions, we really thought this through and wrote it all out before we did the audio tapes.
Yeah.
Tapes, I guess it's an old term.
That is a
very old term.
Yeah.
Old
the wireless.
The whatever.
I know everyone's enjoying this on the wireless.
On the Morse code. So we thought through, here's the instructions. Now we also want to incorporate why you're doing the exercises, which was how the exercises are helping your eyes anatomically, and how the exercises exactly are getting your eyes to improve.
Yeah, we found with a lot of our private sessions, especially first-time clients, when they came to us, that as we were doing the exercises, we were really trying to give them as much knowledge as possible, why the exercises actually work, because, we strongly believe that through education, people will do these exercises when they understand how they work, why, and that they actually can help improve your vision.
Right.
So the biggest barrier after that then was the time management.
Right.
The age-old excuse of, I just don't have time.
Right.
And we really wanted to try and tackle that head on. And I guess that's where that 10 minutes came from.
Yeah, we did a survey and said how much time are you willing to do an exercise for? And that people said 10 minutes was a good medium length. And it worked for us because most of our exercises work at that level. Yeah. So we went ahead and said, okay, let's make them all 10 minutes long. And that's when you went to all that work to make them precisely 10 minutes.
And then being here in Silicon Valley, just outside Silicon Valley, the place of Facebook, Twitter, Google,
Apple,
everything that's going on, we thought we would jump on board a little bit. And we wanted to make them MP3 files so that you can play them anywhere.
Yeah.
On your iPod or on your, I guess now Samsung's very popular as well. We shouldn't be biased.
Yeah.
Any device, any MP3 device that you've got, you can be out in a park, you can just press play.
Right.
We also meant that if you're on your way to work, you can just press play, or you're on a lunch break, you've got that 10 minutes, you just press play on the device and you're doing the exercise.
Or for that matter, you can put it on your computer and take a break from the computer without leaving the computer to a certain degree, and just pressing play on your computer and taking a break that way as well.
Yeah, we're really trying to work closely with people that use the computer for extended periods of time,
which is everybody now,
which it seems to be, and how, because you don't have to have eye strain, you don't have to have red eyes, you don't have to have itchy eyes, you don't need to get headaches.
Right.
If you use the computer in a sensible way, taking regular breaks, doing your eye exercises, then it can be fine.
Yeah.
A perfect example was the other day when I was doing some work. I spent a good 10, 12 hours on the computer. And my brain was a little bit fried at the end, but my eyes, felt fine. And the next day my eyes felt fine. So it really goes to show that sort of thing can work. And we just wanted to make it mobile and not be so static.
Right.
And we were really pleased that when we launched it, that, it was a good success, and we were getting great feedback from people. And it was a really useful product, but this is where the old teacher, this is where it become the old teacher/dog, and how we need new tricks. And it really came when we started getting feedback from our hard of hearing audience,
which is a little embarrassing considering we're sort of from the blind community. That we didn't think of this earlier, but it was good feedback.
Yeah, I guess the thing is that we made a dangerous, assumptions are always dangerous, but I guess our assumption that is if somebody was working with their eyes, that their vision wasn't necessarily that good.
Yeah.
So, we would almost offend them if we did a visual product instead of an audio product.
We thought we were really smart to do just an audio product. Yeah. And lo and behold, there's a whole community of people who have problems with both, both hearing and vision, or mainly their problem is hearing, and they just want to improve their eyesight, say from 2060 to 2020, something like that.
So once we realized that this was something that our audience wanted, we thought, okay, let's do it. Let's make a product for the hard of hearing. So we thought the best way to do this was to keep the 10-minute audios, but shoot a video that goes with it, and then we add subtitles afterwards.
Right.
So that's exactly what we did. So I guess we're sort of calling it Eye Exercise Express 2.0.
Right.
I would imagine, or Mark 2.
Ooh, Mark 2. I like that.
People would be like, who's Mark?
Ooh, I like that. We might have to change everything now. Mark 2 is it.
Very space age.
Yeah.
And, it worked really well. I enjoyed recording the videos because it was kind of easy, because we were just doing the video to how we did the auditory exercises.
Yeah.
So you really get to see us do the exercise and how it was meant to be done.
Right. So we're demonstrating exactly how the exercise should be done, and we do it exactly in time to the audio. So when you're done, there's many ways you could use this, but one of the ways is you learn the exercise through the video, and then you could just listen to the audio later in your car, in a park, something like that.
So we did the subtitles, and I'm very pleased how the subtitles worked out, and that in fact we weren't talking complete gibberish.
No, I was surprised too.
Wow, these guys know what they're talking about.
I know. As I was correcting the subtitles, like, wow, this is pretty good stuff.
So we got it, and we were ready to go with it, and then we started to realize with all the work that we've been doing of really trying to get people to how to do the exercises the best way, that this is actually a pretty useful product for everyone.
Yeah. No, and this is where being an auditory learner, I kind of just missed it. It's like I learn well by listening to something, but a lot of people learn better by seeing something first.
Yeah.
Including you. So
yeah, and it really means that there's not that opportunity to misinterpret what we were doing, and I guess sometimes people really want that not security, but they want to know that what they're doing it right. And we really thought we'd solved that with the audio, but I guess there's still that level of doubt until you see somebody do exactly what it is, and then you're like, right, I'm doing this right.
Yeah,
I'm going to continue doing this. And then I know I'm going to see improvements in my vision. Whereas we do know, with clients, especially those that can only, maybe they live away, maybe they live in Los Angeles or something, they can only travel up and see us every 3 weeks. Then you give them the exercise, they go away, they're doing it, they come back, and they realize they've been doing the exercise wrong.
Right.
It's a really good opportunity to make sure that you are following it and getting it right. What I like about it so much is that we recorded the audio first, so we were very descriptive.
Yeah, we took
what
pains.
we were doing.
Because we knew at that point we didn't think it would be visual. We took great pains to make the descriptions very precise. So.
And it kind of came around the same time we were doing a lot of research into the whole visual learning, auditory learning, and kinesthetic learning. And what it made us realize is that we could sort of hit all of those, with it being very descriptive of what we're saying, so that, I mean, that's one way of learning, and it also means that you're digesting it in a separate cognitive way.
Right.
And then you've got the visual side of it. You're seeing it happen, and you're learning it visually. And then the third part is that you're doing the exercise yourself. So it's a real kinesthetic way of learning. So before, where we were talking about either one or the other, well, you can hit all three areas by doing it this way. And this is what's so valuable about having the private sessions. But, doing the website, what we're trying to do here is not have to have you come out to us. I mean, there's obviously benefits to that, but we really wanted to take ourselves to you and the audience so that you could get, basically a private session without having to come here to San Francisco.
Yeah. So that's how we got to creating the I Exercise Express Mach 2. Actually, we were going to call it, I think, 2.0. It's not as exciting, but
well, if anybody has any suggestions, then feel free to let us know. And we did send out a survey to our audience and to our followers this week to try and finalize a bit more information, because we want to get a little bit more on finalizing the product and how it should be. So if you got one of those through your I was going to say letterbox, then we're really getting old-fashioned today. In your inbox, then certainly let us know your feedback on that. And next week, we're hopefully everything will be in place.
Yeah,
and
it isn't finished, folks. So we're hoping next week.
Yeah, we'll be talking about where these guys can get their hands on it, and a little bit more detail on exactly what it is that they're going to get their hands on.
Right.
So I think it's a good time to move on to question of the week.
And the question of the week this week comes from a Twitter follower who has just had LASIK surgery and is now experiencing blurriness at night and wonders if that's normal.
Yeah, it's funny. Richard and I were saying earlier how we tend to get influxes of the same subject in a couple of weeks, and this couple of weeks really seems to be LASIK.
It's LASIK week.
It's LASIK month.
And
it is sad that we do hear about.
And we seem to be hearing people who've just had the surgery.
Yeah.
I would think, I know why they're contacting. They have problems. That's why they're contacting us. Now I think about it. Yeah.
So, things like myopia and astigmatism that really isn't that severe, that we feel, and that LASIK is kind of a cosmetic surgery, really. And the eye is such a fragile piece of equipment that it is kind of sad when we do hear from people that the LASIK surgery, they're experiencing the side effects now of the LASIK surgery. And last week we talked about a guy that had the surgery done and it didn't go... either it went well and their vision was getting weak.
Or maybe, that's right. Yeah.
Or, something.
His vision was returning to being weaker again after the surgery. Right.
So this one, and I guess last week is that the surgery was a success.
Exactly.
And this week, the answer to, is it normal that my vision gets blurry at night? Well, sadly and unfortunately, the answer is yes.
Yes. So to both of them, you have normal surgery. Your eyes could be getting weaker and you have blurry vision at night. Yeah.
So one thing we felt this is really important is, when we've researched this, obviously, I'm sure at some point the doctors must tell you that this is a side effect because it is a common side effect. And what it is when they do the LASIK, they're basically making glasses out of your lens. So they're shaving off part of the cornea. And they make sort of the insertion, you could say, around the periphery of the cornea, around the outside of the front of the eye. Now, when they do it, it leaves a very small scar tissue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're cutting the cells and it sort of needs to repair there, so it becomes scar tissue.
Right.
Now, during the day, your pupils are constricted. I remember things like the sunning exercise where it constricts and dilates the pupil. We're exercising the pupil there. Palming, the peripheral vision exercise, it all helps dilate the pupil.
Right.
So what happens is during the day you don't notice that scar tissue. There's no light bouncing in a different direction. So, but in the evening time, as it gets dark, our pupils dilate so that we can get more light rays to the back of the eye, to the rod cells, so that we can see in the dark.
Right.
Which is why I have difficulty seeing in the dark, because those dysfunctioning rod cells, the night cells, aren't working as well. So I have difficulty seeing in the dark.
Right.
So what happens is, as your pupil dilates, it sort of exposes the scar tissue.
Right.
So when you look at a light, it's hitting it sort of on a funny angle. It's hitting the scar tissue, so you see halos.
Yeah, I mean, if you're speaking photographically, you can imagine a lens, and if you took and sort of smeared Vaseline around the perimeter of the lens, the outside edge of the lens, when you stopped the aperture down on the camera, you wouldn't have a problem, because the aperture would be small enough. It would be only looking through the middle of the lens. But as you open up the aperture, now you're using the whole surface of the lens. It's very similar, and now you'd get the halos from that Vaseline around the edge of a lens. So
now I'm sure if you said to your doctor, before you have the laser, all we're asking here is you ask questions. It's
right.
Again, our aim here is to educate people, not scare people or put people off. It's just, once you've got all the facts, then you make your own educated decision. And the problem with this is it's seen as a success.
Right.
So it's not, the side effects are that you're going to see halo. It's, you're going to have 20/20 vision, 20/10 vision. Oh, and you might see a little bit.
A little something in that. Yeah.
But you're going to be seeing 20/20, and you never have to wear your glasses again, and you never have to spend money on glasses.
Weaker,
except in a few years' time.
Yeah.
So it's important that you find out about this, and also we want to urge people that have had this done. The problem is when you're younger, your pupils are more flexible, they're stronger, they can dilate and constrict more easily, so they dilate a lot more, which is why you can see the halo, whereas somebody who is older might not necessarily see the scar tissue, because through use and age, the pupil becomes weaker, so it doesn't dilate as much.
Right.
So a way around this is doctors are starting to prescribe drugs that prevent the pupil from dilating fully, so you don't see the halos anymore.
Isn't that nice? I would guess you wouldn't see that well in dark situations either. Yeah.
Because remember, the pupil has to dilate to get as much light in as possible.
Yeah.
So not great, really. And then you're on drugs until you're old enough,
which probably have side effects of some sort. Yes.
The pupil doesn't dilate.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's important that everybody knows about this information as much as possible.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, yes, blurry vision at night is the sign of a successful LASIK surgery.
Yes.
And
congratulations. Yes.
And we were trying to think how we could really help that, and at this point we can't really think of anything to overcome it, because you are scarring the cornea.
Yeah. We have no solution to that other than don't do LASIK ahead of time. Yeah.
So, but I mean, this by no means, we're getting more and more of these emails and more people contacting us with this. So maybe in time we'll put our thinking caps on. But unfortunately, I'm not too sure what you can do about that.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, even if you have had the LASIK surgery, then as we talked about before, there are still things that you can do to help improve your vision. And ideally, those of you that are listening to this podcast, you're listening because you want to improve your vision naturally, and you will avoid such invasive surgeries such as LASIK, and you really want to try and improve your vision naturally and maintain healthy vision for the rest of your life, and not just a short period of time.
Right.
So if you want to find out a little bit more information about eye exercises, then you can head over to our website at envisionselfhealing.com, and you can also find an ebook over there called A Modern Day Guide for Improving Eyesight that we're revamping up a little bit there, and again, teaching old teachers new tricks, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more in a few weeks' time. And you can also follow us on Twitter, and just like the question of the week this week, you can contact us through Twitter or our Facebook fan page. And when we sort of get a collection of emails and we see that there's a growing concern, then we tend to answer those emails.
Right.
So, you never know, you might get one of your questions answered. So please do send your questions in. And I'll also stick up some pictures this week on Facebook of my bike trip up in Napa Valley. I cut out the ones of me drinking wine, but I will keep in the ones of us riding the bikes, which is real nice.
And maybe I'll put up some garden pictures too.
I think you should.
You should? Yeah.
I think you owe it to our audience. You never put up the doorknob handles that you talked about that week. That was maybe a month ago.
I know. Maybe I'll do doorknobs and plants this week.
Well, good luck with your eye exercises this week, and we look forward to catching up with you again next week, where we're going to talk a little bit more about the Eye Exercise Express 2.0, and happy healing.
And have a good week.